Hi everyone, this is your old friend Renee. Welcome to the People's Interview channel. We are excited to have Boris, CEO and co-founder of LiveArt with us. Hi Boris.
Hi Renee, how are you?
Yeah, fine. I've been following LiveArt since 2022, so I'm definitely a big fan. I know lots of friends out there are just as curious about LiveArt as I am. So today, let's have a great chat about it. So the first questions to start, Boris, could you please introduce yourself and share a quick overview of what LiveArt is and its core mission in the RWA and the DeFi space?
Sure. Well, the core mission is simple. It's Picassos, Rolexes, Ferraris. These aren't just collectibles. They are a $10 trillion asset class. And, looking forward to speaking about this today. As for me, I'm Boris. I'm a builder. I'm a founder of 5 successful tech companies with exits, including to Christie's, to Viacom, and other big companies in the past. And as for LiveArt, it's the first AI agent-powered RWA protocol that makes cultural assets fully liquid and usable in decentralized finance. We are backed by Binance Labs, Animoca Brands, Hashkey, Samsung Ventures, other tier 1 institutions, and we have built a $200 million pipeline of assets that are ready for tokenization, ready to go on chain. We have 30 million connected wallets across 17 different blockchains. We have cultivated one of the largest RWA communities with nearly 800,000 engaged members, and add to that about 50 partners across blockchains, wallets, marketplaces, and you get the picture. So we are not just opening up cultural wealth, we're building the ecosystem around it on blockchain.
The RWA trend is booming. LiveArt's tokenizing things like art, watches, and cars. What problems in traditional markets are you tackling, and how do blockchain and the AI help solve them?
Yeah, RWA is really shaping up to be the dominant crypto narrative, right? It's growing rapidly, and I believe it will be one of the enduring use cases for crypto as a whole. And so traditionally, this $10 trillion market of cultural and collectible assets that we are bringing on chain, it's been locked up for billionaires. One could buy a $10 million Warhol or a $50,000 Rolex, but you couldn't easily trade it or borrow against it or swap it in DeFi. And so what we are doing is we're changing that. That's what LiveArt is all about. We have AI valuation for such assets. We have blockchain custody, and we have DeFi rails. And so using all of that, we fractionalize these assets, which were previously unavailable to retail investors, so that everybody around the world globally can treat them just like any other crypto asset. So you can own the piece of a Basquiat or a Ferrari for just $50 or more, depending on your budget, and you could borrow against it just like any other crypto. So you can imagine swapping, a fraction of a Picasso for stable coins in seconds, and that's how we bridge culture and Web3, and really that's what we're all about, and that's how the bridging of the real-world assets and Web3 happens within the LiveArt universe.
Okay, that's really cool. Thank you for sharing. And we all know that LiveArt become a top RWA platform as tokenized assets take off. Was this driving more by your market data or by seeing the potential of RWA early on?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, early on, back many moons ago in the space, NFTs were the, headline grabbers. But now RWA is really the real $10 trillion opportunity. And this is what the market has learned. And this is what we have learned together with it. So the market for tokenized real world assets has already topped, about $28 billion. And it's rapidly accelerating. So it's a market that is growing super fast, and it's kind of a tide that's lifting all boats. And, unlike, for instance, NFTs, a Rolex or a Kusama painting holds enduring intrinsic value for the long run and is backed by an underlying asset that holds its value, tends to hold its value really well and grow quite fast. So this is, one of the characteristics of cultural assets is that at the top of the market, they grow quite well and have and show very good financial historical return characteristics. Yes, you're right. So this strategic evolution of LiveArt has been about timing, foresight, market data, moving sort of from more speculative assets to more substance assets that are backed by real value of real world assets, to investment grade cultural assets that investors actually want exposure to.
Tokenizing real world assets is complex. how does LiveArt ensure authenticity, valuation accuracy, and regulatory compliance across assets? What unique features of your model enable liquidity and DeFi utility for these tokenized assets?
Yeah, it's a great question. And the question, probably the most frequently asked question in our community. We have a very active community that really likes getting to the bottom of how this tokenization and DeFi trading works on LiveArt, and they ask this question all the time. So let me address it. So you're absolutely right. Tokenizing, say, a Warhol or any other masterpiece or a watch, it's not a weekend project, right? It's a serious infrastructure project, serious infrastructure investment that needed to be made to enable this. Our team comes from Sotheby's and Christie's and of course Web3, so we know how to select the best performing assets with clean provenance, authenticity, and we know how to care for such assets so that they preserve their value. Every piece, every masterpiece that is tokenized and fractionalized across all asset classes is stored in secure Swiss free ports, so it's all in Switzerland, and you can think of it as a nuclear bunker level vault, ultra secure, climate controlled, purpose built for high value assets. So that's how the collateral, how the underlying assets are stored. Right now, the next question is, how do we know, or how do we communicate to the market what the actual real current market value of those assets is? So we do that using AI valuation. So it's trained on 10 million transactions that have happened in the past for these assets, usually auction transactions. We have the world's largest database and analytics suite of such for this asset class. And, probably actually it was the first product that we built, because we knew that when you bring a new asset class to new set of buyers, so for instance in crypto, you need to have this kind of data, right? You need to, it's not obvious how much a particular masterpiece, a painting or a watch costs just by looking at it. So you have to bring data. You have to support those prices, those current market values with data. And that's exactly what we do. We have about 3,000 data sources that we collect past sale information, these kinds of assets for masterpieces, watches, etc. And then we bring the data on chain through oracles, so that any DeFi protocol can have access to that data, so that you can know, for instance, when you're getting a loan against a piece of a Warhol, a piece of a masterpiece, how much that piece of that painting is actually worth based on recent auction sales in the real world. So it's another place where we connect Web 2 and Web 3, real world and digital world and crypto. So once these assets are tokenized, the fractions become fully liquid. So you can trade them on, you can buy them on 17 different chains currently, and we're going to be adding more blockchains as well. You can stake them, you can borrow against them, you can swap them in decentralized finance. So you can do with them anything that you can do with crypto. Even though it's a piece of a Warhol or a piece of a Rolex, it behaves just like any other coin in crypto, so that you can do all the same things with it, and you can use your favorite protocols to, borrow against it or trade it. So in other words, kind of like you can think about it like a Basquiat painting or a masterpiece isn't just art anymore. It's collateral, it's liquidity, it's programmable finance, and that's what we enable.
Community is the lifeblood of Web3. How has LiveArt built such a strong global community, and what campaigns or partnerships have worked best to attract both crypto fans and traditional investors?
Yes, community in crypto is number one. This is the most important thing. We're building a completely new community for this asset class, right? Previously, the buyers of this asset class have been off-chain. Now they're on-chain. So it's a completely new community. So we spent the last 2.5 years building a very substantial community. So we're currently backed by one of the strongest community in RWA, in real world assets. We have about 470,000 people who are following us on X, on Twitter, about 200,000 on Discord, about 100,000 on Telegram, just to give you a scale of the community. So these are people who are interested in what we're doing, who actively participate in RWA-related activities on LiveArt. About 60% of our audience is currently in Asia, about 20% in Europe, and the rest in North America. We think that the North American part of the audience is going to grow rapidly, given progress that they're making in adopting crypto. And of course, in the rest of the world, it will continue to to grow as well. It's very helpful. It's been very helpful in growing the community, relying on our backers. So we're supported by Binance Labs, Animoca Brands, Hashkey Capital, Samsung Ventures, lots of really tier one investment and crypto organizations and institutions. And that really helped to attract super high quality community that is interested, not just in speculating. Let's face it's crypto, right? So there are lots of people who just want to speculate, but in this case also to invest, to trade, to collect cultural assets with us and from us. So that's been extremely helpful in growing the community. The support of Binance, Animoca, Hashkey, Samsung, and our other investors and institutions who are affiliated with us. It's also worth noting that, our campaigns consistently draw tens of thousands of participants. Like right now, we are doing an airdrop to over 260,000 wallets who engaged with LiveArt programs pre-TGE. So that would be one example, just to give you a scale of our active base. And the key here is that we are not just talking about ownership, right? Ownership of a piece of a masterwork is important enough, but it's not just about ownership. Our community not just buys, it also trades. It borrows against these assets, it swaps them. So it's a very actively traded assets, not just buy and collect and hold, but also trade, borrow against it, and swap. So, the community is living the full crypto utility of RWAs for the first time ever. And I think that's why this is such a strong and exciting community. We expect that it will continue to grow very, very rapidly as we're bringing more and more assets on chain and introducing more and more products.
Okay, that's really cool. And as we all know, the RWA space is getting crowded as right now. What's LiveArt's edge over other platforms, especially where RWA, DeFi, and AI meet?
That's a great question. If you think about what RWA means, it's real world assets, right?
Yep.
It started with something that you can touch, right? But then very quickly, it went into the financial assets. So now the majority of the so-called RWA market is financial assets. It's stocks, bonds, equities, private company, RWA, stuff like that. This is not what we do. So our part of the RWA market is things you can touch, right? So these are masterworks, fine art, watches, cars, things that used to be collected in the real world but not liquid and now are liquid on chain. This part of the market is not particularly crowded, and we are, I would say, the undisputed leader of it right now. We would like to be the company that basically owns the space. I'm sure there will be more competitors over time, but for now there aren't many. Most of the RWA people attack the financial RWAs. We attack this kind of tangible things you can touch RWAs, iconic RWAs, and we're giving them full crypto utility. That's what sets us apart. And also, most platforms out there, they stop at tokenization, which is basically tokenize something, sell it, and then the buyer holds it. We go further, right? We financialize assets so that you can not just hold them, but you can trade them, you can borrow against them, you can swap them, you can stake them, etc. Plus, on top of it, we have the AI agent. And that AI agent is an integral component of our ecosystem. It scans global markets for mispriced opportunities. It helps you to create your own portfolios of tangible RWAs. And it's going to be even more important as things progress, because the more assets we have on chain, the more opportunities you will have to properly construct a portfolio that matches the returns that you're looking for from this asset class. So those are some of the biggest kind of differentiators. I would also say that I just really want to emphasize that investors on LiveArt don't just own fractions. They trade, stake, swap, borrow against them. And, we're not building a marketplace. We're building the DeFi layer for culture that is based on the RWA assets that you can touch, right? I really wanted to make the distinction very clear, because RWA is a word that is very fashionable now. The market is growing very fast, but there are really two distinct flavors to it. There is the financial assets, which is a very competitive space. And then there is this tangible assets, which is a less competitive space, but still a huge market. It's a $10 trillion asset class. And that's the one that we would like to own as a company.
Okay, thank you, Boris. That's really impressive. What can the community and the investors expect in the next 6 to 12 months? And what's a big picture version of LiveArt? What role will it play in the $10 trillion RWA economy as it moves on chain?
Yeah, great question. Another great question. So as of today, The next milestone is that we are counting down to Tuesday, September 9th, when the ARC token officially launches at 12 p.m. UTC. So this is more than a TG. That's really the start of unlocking this $10 trillion asset class on chain, which is what I was talking about. So this is the immediate next milestone. But of course, it goes much more beyond that. So in the next 12 months, it's all about providing scale and execution. So on the product side, on the partnership side, and of course, launching more and more assets on chain. So on the product side, we're launching our DeFi suite. So that's RWA vaults, staking, collateralized borrowing, structured products, really all of the different things that you can do with like a piece of a Warhol, a piece of a Rolex, a piece of a Patek Philippe, a piece of a Ferrari that you can purchase on LiveArt, right? As I keep saying, it's not just owning it, it's also doing things with it. So on the product side, that will be our main focus. What are giving users as many things that they can do with this crypto asset, with these crypto assets that they can purchase, not just collect, but also stake, borrow against, etc. So that's on the product side. On the partnership side, we're integrating deeper and deeper across ecosystems with exchanges, of course, with the DeFi protocols so that you can do more and more things with your, Warhols and Picassos and Patek Philippe's, and also the cross-chain infrastructure. So we're currently, we're sort of maximizing our distribution as much as possible so that more and more people can participate in this asset class and the cultural assets. Currently, we are already on 17 chains, blockchains. So that, these RWAs are accessible everywhere. And we will continue to expand to additional chains. So that's on the partnership side. And of course, asset launches, right? It's all about bringing as much as possible on chain. You're bringing more and more assets on chain, more and more masterworks, more and more fine art, more and more watches, etc. So we've secured a $200 million pipeline from Warhols to Patek Philippe's to vintage Porsches. And over the next months and years, we'll continue bringing this pipeline on chain as quickly as we can. So every launch is a chance for investors to buy, trade, borrow, and swap fractions of iconic assets. And that's the utility that we are delivering. So that's on the roadmap side. Taking it a bit broader, right? What is the overall kind of vision for the future, where the company is going? I believe that in the future, cultural wealth won't be locked away like it has been in the past. It will flow like crypto.
Yes.
And that's a huge change because in the past, only the most well-heeled individuals could afford to participate in this cultural wealth, buy paintings, buy expensive watches, etc. And now with crypto, everybody can do it. So investors won't just buy into these assets. They'll trade them, borrow against them, swap them seamlessly. So it'll be a very active market. In the real world for these assets, it's currently a very illiquid market. And in crypto, through fractionalization and tokenization, it becomes a very liquid market. That's a fundamental change that is super important for this asset class. So LiveArt will be the global home for tokenized cultural wealth, democratizing this $10 trillion market, or the $10 trillion asset class that's been closed for centuries. So the long-term vision is, it's pretty simple, but I think it's bold. We're building the Wall Street of culture, right? So the liquid, on-chain, open to all. And in that future, just owning a fraction of a Warhol will be as natural as holding Bitcoin, Ethereum, or stablecoin.
Okay, I believe it's not a very easy way, but I think maybe the right way. Wishing LiveArt all the success to the moon. And thanks for your time, Boris. And thank you all for watching this video. So see you next time.